why birds fly into windows, and what we can do to help. There are now more window collisions than there used to be. The presence of bigger and bigger buildings means more and more windows. Also, because many of these buildings are offices, the lights can stay on late into the night. This is especially a problem during bird migration periods, when thousands of birds travel through the night. On a busy bird migration night, thousands of birds can die in one city. So, what can we do to help our little feathered friends? Well, there are some special patterned glass panels that birds are less likely to hit. It's not always practical to use these, though. Take some time to inspect your windows to see what birds see. If you have a bird feeder, make sure that it's not easily visible in the reflection from the window. There are special tapes that can be used to make the windows much easier for birds to see. With these ways, we can decrease the number of bird deaths from window collisions.
Hello, welcome to English for You, and I'm Laura.
And I'm Sam.
So yesterday we started talking about something I really never thought about, but I think it's quite common and serious, right?
Yeah, especially in big cities like Taipei, I guess, especially if you live in or work in a big building with glass windows that we looked at yesterday.
I don't blame birds. Sometimes that happens to me when I'm walking, like when you're probably like playing with your cell phone, you're like walking to a building, and then like if the glass is like so clean, you probably will bump your head and go, ooh.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, it happens, right?
Yes. My granddad used to stick bits of tape on some of his glass doors so they could see that the door was closed.
Very smart.
It used to amuse me when I was a kid.
So today we're going to find out more about these window collisions and, maybe how birds can protect themselves, I think.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start.
Okay, so today's article starts with, there are now more window collisions than there used to be. So it's not a positive start, really, is it?
Yeah, pretty sad. Okay, but here we have to stop a little bit because I want to talk to you about the language in focus that appeared in the sentence. So let's take a look. OK, 这里的 language in focus 提到就是 used to， 然后后面接原形动词，过去曾经怎么样，常做什么什么，但是现在不再做的事情哦。那因为它是用在过去的状态哦，所以要记得它都是过去发生的，现在不会发生了。那 used to 是属于助动词的用法，后面我们要接原形动词，所以整句通常讲的就是主词 used to， 然后接原形动词。同样造个例句会比较清楚哦。I used to play the piano when I was younger, but I haven't touched it in years. This is a real example sentence. 这是真的哦。我以前小时候年轻的时候常弹钢琴，但是我现在已经好几年没碰了。OK， 那大家可能好奇，如果要作为否定句的话怎么办？那我们就要用助动词 didn't， 然后后面接 use 没有 d 哦 ，used to 来表示，所以主词didn't used to， 然后同样接原形动词。For example, she didn't used to enjoy spicy food, but now she can't get enough of it. 我的朋友真的是这样，他以前不喜欢吃这个很辣的食物，但是现在我跟你讲，麻辣火锅他超爱的。She loves spicy hot pot. Now she can't get enough of it.OK， 那如果改成问句使用 did 或是 didn't 作为开头，我们要把 used to 还原成什么呢？ used to 没有 d 哦，所以举例来说 did or didn't， 然后接主词，后面接 used to 原形动词，然后再加一个问号，因为这是一个问句哦。我们来想一个问句的例句好了。Oh, did you used to have long hair? 你以前有长头发吗？ I saw some old photos of you and you look completely different. 我看到一些旧照片，你看起来完全不同诶。有没有人常常发型一变都认不出来呢？好啦，那我回到课文在讲什么呢？就是现在跟过去相比哦，这个窗杀更常发生诶。Wow, that sounds like a scary start for our today's article.
Okay, so back to the article, and it begins again by saying the presence of bigger and bigger buildings means more and more windows. So straight away we have a vocab word, presence. So presence is the noun form of present, and when something is present, it is here right now. So in many big cities, there are lots of large buildings present. There are lots of large buildings here right now. Laura and I are present in this recording studio. We're here right now talking to you. And another example could be the presence of the large cat made the mouse run and hide in the long grass.
Presence, 今天提到这个是名词哦，存在。我要讲一个，好啦，不要吓你们啦。Hey, have you ever felt the spooky presence of a ghost at night? That sounds scary, but wait for it. Well, that feeling is like how some people sense the presence of a hidden cookie jar in the kitchen. Not so scary, guys. You thought I was going to scare you? No. Okay. So, 课文刚刚提到是说，越来越多大型的建筑的存在，就意味着当然有越来越多的窗户啊。Oh no, more windows for the birds.
Yes, let's find out what happens. So we then see also, because many of these buildings are offices, the lights can stay on late into the night. This is especially a problem during bird migration periods when thousands of birds travel through the night.
Oh, that's another point I never thought of. Okay. 所以刚刚的句子有提到很多重点哦。这里的副词 on 意思是开着的、使用中，所以我们刚刚提到的是stay on late into the night。那后方介系词 into 则是持续到一直到什么什么。那我们刚刚有提到了，就是 birds travel, right? Travel 这里呢，我们是要提到的是行动、移动，它是一个动词。后面我们提到 travel through the night。OK， 后面介系词 through 是从什么开始到结束，或是从头到尾。再来还提到 migration 就是迁徙的意思，这是个名词哦。所以哇，这么多字，我们来看一下整句课文要表达是什么。他说，而且由于这些建筑物中许多是办公室，那灯光在深夜时分，哇，可能都保持亮着哦。那这尤其在鸟类迁徙的时期会成为问题啊，因为这段期间会有成千上万的鸟类在夜间穿越。
And we have another word to look at here, period. So a period is any length of time. It can be short length of time or a long length of time. It doesn't matter. All lengths of time are periods. So in the article, period is talking about the time when birds migrate, as Laura has just explained. So let's have another example. Because of Jack's illness, there are periods when he doesn't feel well enough to go to school. So there are parts of time, chunks of time where he doesn't feel well enough.
Period 是什么呢？在本课是有时期或是阶段的意思，它是一个名词。像是考试时间，你们会这样吗？ During the exam period, we all turn into night owls, surviving on late night snacks and caffeinated drinks.Well, you guys can't have coffee, I guess. Yeah, but I do, okay, when I was in college, okay. 所以考试期间我们都变成夜猫子，然后怎么样都会吃这个深夜的这个宵夜啦、小吃啊，还有含咖啡因的饮料来撑过，要不然会想要睡着。
On a busy bird migration night, thousands of birds can die in one city.Oh
my gosh, I can't imagine that. 所以在繁忙的这个鸟类迁徙的夜晚，一个城市里就有可能有数千只鸟类死亡哦。That sounds so sad.
It does. Right. So the article then says, so what can we do to help our little feathered friends? Well, there are some special patterned glass panels that birds are less likely to hit. It's not always practical to use these, though.So we have the word practical because that's an important part of this last sentence. practical here basically means easily possible. If something isn't practical, then it cannot easily be done. So it might not always be easy or possible to use these patterned glass panels. Another example could be it's not practical to travel from Taiwan to the US by car. I mean, you could do it, but it's really not easily possible. It's not practical.
Maybe a hot air balloon, because I'm thinking about around the world in 80 days.
Yes.
That idea. Not by car, guys. Okay. So practical 是什么呢？就是实际的啊，确实可行的啊，它是一个形容词哦。For example, remember when we tried that brilliant shortcut to the park? Yeah, it wasn't practical at all. We ended up lost in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Okay, 所以有时候你可能要试着说，我们要走捷径，结果完全怎么样 ？Not practical， 不实际。就是我跟我朋友最后迷失在荒野中，我们不知道我们在哪里哦。那刚刚的句子我们还看到 ，This is kind of cute. Feathered friend. Of course, here we mean birds. That's a cute way to actually say them. Okay, 所以这是名词的词组，就是有翅膀羽毛的好朋友，但这里就是指鸟。那 patterned 这个形容词是带图案的，有花样的。所以课文整句是说，那么我们可以做一些什么？做一些什么呢？来帮助这些小小的羽毛朋友，也就是这些鸟呢？那有一些特殊图案的玻璃面板，这个鸟类的撞击的机会比较小哦。不过使用这些面板不是总是切实可行的。It's not always practical.
Yeah. So what we learn next? Well, the article says, take some time to inspect your windows to see what birds see. So that's what we can do instead of just sticking tape on things. So inspect. So the sentence uses the word inspect to mean to carefully look at something. It's a useful word to use when you're thinking about buying a used or second-hand item. You could tell the seller that you'd like to inspect the item before handing over your hard-earned cash. You would inspect the item to make sure it's in good condition and that everything works okay. So you take the item, have a really good look at it, make sure it's what you want, then you can agree to buy it. Another example could be the doctor inspected Anne's injury to make sure that it was healing okay. So the doctor had a good look at Anne's injury and made sure that it's okay,
right? I want my doctor to do that and not to just prescribe me with something and say, okay, next. Okay. Inspect 就是查看或者是审视，比较认真的看这样的意思，它是一个动词哦。像是呢，我每次出发旅行前，我就会做这件事情。Let's inspect our backpacks before the trip. We wouldn't want any surprises like bring only one sock.
Oh no.
I always do a good inspection before I, go traveling.
That's important.
Right. Okay. 课文提到说，所以呢，要请花点时间检查你的窗户，看看鸟类可能看到是什么。I don't really know if I've inspected my windows before.
No, me neither. I've never really thought to do that.
Right.
Okay, so the article then says, if you have a bird feeder, make sure that it's not easily visible in the reflection from the window. So it doesn't mean not easily visible at all, but not visible in the reflection. Because as we learnt earlier, the bird could crash into the window thinking that that's where the bird feeder is. So the word visible, if something is visible, then it can be seen. So in the article, if the bird feeder is visible for birds, then the birds should be able to see it. Another example could be, you must make sure that your whole face is visible when taking a photo for your passport. And your passport, if you're not sure what that is, that's the little small book you have to take with you when you go on vacation to another country and you have to show it at the airport.
护照 Visible 是什么呢？就是看得见的、可见的，它是一个形容词。For example, oops, my attempt at a cool dance move just made me more visible to everyone on the dance floor. I just made a fool of myself. Okay. 好，那刚刚还提到 feeder 这个名词，就是饲料槽或者是喂食器哦。所以课文提到是说，如果你有一个 bird feeder， 就是一个喂鸟器啊，请确保它在窗户的反射中不容易被看见哦。
Right, so the article then says there are special tapes that can be used to make the windows much easier for birds to see.
Wow, maybe your grandpa's tapes, they are useful after all.
Yeah.
所以有一些特殊的胶带可以使这个窗户对鸟类更容易看见哦。But they're probably special tapes.
I guess,
Yeah.
not just pieces of, I think,
Right.
electrical tape that he used. So we then see, with these ways, we can decrease the number of bird deaths from window collisions. So decrease, well, we probably can guess what that means, but let's have a look at that word anyway. So it's our final vocab word, and when we decrease something, we make it smaller. It's the opposite of increase, which means to make something bigger. So if we decrease the number of bird deaths, we make the number of bird deaths lower, so fewer bird deaths. It's a good thing.
Right. Okay, so how could we use that in a sentence?
So we could use that by saying, Neil decided to decrease the number of hours he works because he would like to stop working and retire soon.
I hope he's rich.
Yeah.
Okay, we know increase 就是增加 and this is the opposite word. Decrease 就是减少、降低的意思，是个动词哦。所以课文整句是说呢，透过这些方式，我们可以减少因窗杀而导致鸟类死亡的数量哦。Okay, hopefully these tapes, special tapes, can save the birds, I guess.
Yeah. Or if we reduce reflections, then that will help. Yeah, decrease these bird deaths.
So, our For You Chat question, I hope it's something less, not too serious.
Not sad. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask you, what types of birds can you find around where you live? Are they likely to have window collisions?
Oh, okay. I remember when I lived in Brisbane, I would often see crows and small birds around my house. But thankfully, I didn't have to worry about window collisions since I lived in a house with no tall buildings and there's no problem with the large glass windows. But now in Taipei, I probably have to check my windows, see if they're I don't know.
Do you have big windows in Taipei?
Yeah. Not so big. I don't think so now that I think back. What about you?
Not really. We have a lot of crows in the UK where I come from. But the bigger problem that we had was, especially in older houses, if we have a lot of fireplaces, and the fireplaces have what's called a chimney, which is the big kind of thing that goes up with it, that Santa comes down at Christmas.
烟囱.
Yeah, and birds can try to make a nest in the top, and they fall down. If they're lucky, they survive, and they come out to the bottom eventually after a couple of days and leave a big mess because it's really dirty inside the chimney. But occasionally they get stuck and they do die, and then you have to call someone to come and pull them out.
So that's another problem with birds in houses. Okay, well, you guys can have a chat about this question, and also you can think about, are the windows where you live, can they actually cause window collisions for birds? I don't know. You guys have a chat about it. But we're out of time. So until next time, my name's Laura.
And I'm Sam.
Bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Presents. Joseph feels nervous at social events, so he often brings his dog. The dog's presence helps him feel comfortable. Period. Taiwan was under Japanese rule during the period from 1895 to 1945. Practical. In the meeting, the manager asked for practical ways to solve the problem, not crazy ideas. Inspect. After Billy drove into a tree by accident, he got out to inspect the damage to the car. Visible. Don needs his glasses. Without them, only soft shapes are visible to him. Decrease. The number of smokers has decreased since people started to learn about smoking's bad effects.
智慧小补帖
Migration.